There he is.
There he is.
Yes!
Let's rock!
Be quiet.
Okay, well, it's been a long time, and I've got a reason for that. Welcome, everybody. Dave Webster, ID Crisis Design, coming at you on this Friday, September 6th, 2024. What am I doing here? Well, I haven't been streamed in forever because there's literally not been any time. I know that for people that do this all the time, the setup is easy. You're able to kind of like jump in and just start something, and I kind of did this time. No thumbnail, nothing fancy. I just wanted to get in and like use the freaking service. I know it's at least been more than a month since I got on here, but the point is, I've been on 12-hour days at my job, and for the last 3 weeks, they put us on 8s, which gave me some time to catch up, but it all was catching up with house stuff and family stuff. We had marriages and birthdays, and I have my side business doing custom paint work. I had pinstripe repairs and things like that. So this tends to be everything that, all the extra time, like falling over the edge. I think I'd probably put in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, playing with the Xbox, just because I was like, you know what, for crying out loud, I deserve some time off. And but this time, what I'm going to be doing is introducing you to a project that I still don't plan on not doing. It's just taken forever, because of these circumstances that I just laid out for y'all. And so I figured what I would do is just to maybe generate whatever little interest I can in this now, and possibly gain some followers, subscribers, whoever's going to be watching this. I know you got to build up your audience so that you actually have 10% of them to sell your project to. And this is something that I've never done before, but I've been inspired by the various independent creators on YouTube and X, and the drama and everything that goes on there, trying to navigate all that and get this project done. But it is a comic book. I've wanted to do a comic book since the time I was a kid. And I thought about, how would I separate it and make it different and make it special and, not your typical superhero comic or whatever. And I came up with this idea of a a custom car builder who is trying to rescue his kidnapped daughter. And the reason that happens is because he is in possession of some evidence of some really heinous stuff. So I thought I would quickly take you through the first couple of pages. I don't think, in the past, I've thought to myself, letting too much of the story out is probably, like a bad idea. Maybe I don't want to give the whole thing away. And, naively thinking that if I was to do that, then nobody would bother buying the book because they already have the story. Of course, you won't have the ending. But here we go. I'm just going to start right off with the first two physical pages that I did, and then moved into doing some digital stuff, which I don't want to stay there. I want to have a variety of mediums and somehow cobble that together into a finished book. But let me present the screen here. Where are we at? There. All right. So we're in my my Clip Studio pane here. Some of these pages are finished with text. I haven't gotten into the using color yet. It's a whole other discipline that I don't even know if I've got time to learn, but I might try to make it a stretch goal. I mean, for crying out loud, actually running a campaign and being able to stick with it consistently over time so that this thing can be sold isn't even on my radar, because I think I would probably have to quit my job in order to do that. So here we go. This is Meat Hook. You might be able to tell from the things hanging off of his wrists, and what we've got is your typical dark alley with your bad guy standing down there by the door. This page has been scanned in and cleaned up, and some effects have been done in Photoshop. I might be able to pull that up later. I might share some of these pages across X. So if you follow me at ID Crisis Design on X, I'll throw some of those up here and there as teasers. But you can basically see what's going on here. We're zooming in to his helmet so that his little camera array can see what's going on with this doorknob and the security measures being taken. And then the action starts. He's taking out the light, surprising his bad guy, giving him some what for, and then a nice threat of you will comply, and I believe the line that I used is open that door, or what is it? I wrote it and I can't remember it. If you don't open that door, what happens next will be long, painful, and embarrassing, I think. Right. So now we're inside, and let me get off of this so that the blue disappears. So we're inside, right? We've got our bad guy being held hostage with one hook around the throat, one hook around his crotch. We don't want to lose that. Very important. Another bad guy coming out of the bathroom unbeknownst, taken by surprise, and also dealt with. Our hero, when we get into his backstory, we'll find out that he is, in fact, a talented fighter to the point where he's been in trouble with the law in the past, and that's one of the things that it rolls over into some of his other relationships. My idea is to is so that everybody gets to know who he is. Somewhere in the book, there's going to be a 2-page spread of tortured memories that we all get to. I guess I don't want to call it a data dump because I don't like to think of it that way, but definitely some exposition. So now that we've taken care of our bad guy, we're going back up. What he's looking for is his, as I said earlier, he's looking for his daughter. She's been she's been kidnapped, and this whole thing takes place in a city called San Lucia. And I'm modeling it after San Diego, never having lived there, and I don't know much about it except that it's close to the border, and that gets us into our basic plot. And then here we are. Somebody made a mistake, and this is, I know this is something that is not typical. Usually, your hero will run into danger. I want my guy to be a little bit smarter. I want him to understand where he knows what his limitations are, and actually has help. Something that's not being displayed here, because although this page has been finished with some dialogue, and again, I'll share those later on X, that I mean, what we're basically looking at is not an amalgam. That's not a way of putting it, but it's like many characters are derivative of something else. So even I believe Ethan Van Sciver talks about Cyberfrog as, understanding that it was that the original idea came about when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a huge thing, and then I think Battletoads was a small like toy line that came off of that, but even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are derivative of something else. It's a combination. Who's this? Somebody's texting me here. Okay, that's my brother's going to be jumping in, and this, which is going to make this a lot easier to do. Talking to nobody or everybody. It's a special talent. But the point is when I looked at something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it didn't do much for me, because I had seen this concept happening in different ways in other places. You've got 4 different characters that the fan base can all connect to, which is great for marketing. But I'd seen it in, Care Bears would do this. My Little Pony would do this. Voltron was doing this. You've got 5 different colored lines, and it was this thing that happens and over and over again. And so each thing is derivative of something else. It's not terrible. I think when you realize that that's happening, if you can make it something unique and something sort of like, most cookies all use the same ingredients, but if you tweak it here or there, then you're going to get something new. My personal favorite are those peanut butter tart cookies with the peanut butter cup in the middle. No, there, we got one. We caught one. There you go.
Yeah,
the clean shaven.
A little fish on a big fucking hook.
What's going on? I was just telling everybody about Asphalt here. The name of the comic is Asphalt. Street Justice.
Who's everybody? Anybody?
No, 0 people, but they'll come later after I'm done.
Okay.
So anyways,
over here.
Well, I was talking about how all characters, all new characters are derivative of something else. You know that there's a messianic savior aspect to Superman. So in a way, it's like Jesus with muscles.
It's a plot. It's a common plot.
Yeah.
E.T., Superman, Iron Man.
Yeah, well, as far as the plot goes, the plot being derivative, I'm talking about like the character itself. There's some Batman, there's some Iron Man, there's some Spider-Man, and even though you don't see it here, there's some Daredevil, but it all, the way that it's put together and the way that it is, the story is told has to be unique. Okay, so the So what's going on here is this character Meat Hook, aka Shane McCabe, he's looking for his daughter.
What's his name?
Shane
Shane McCain.
McCabe, McCabe.
McCabe. Ooh. Okay, so is that supposed to be? I'm sorry, I'm not lit well, so and I'm just my new space.
No, it's okay. Really, get yourself settled.
I've got a space that I made. I don't know if
Thanks for wearing the shirt. Did you do that on purpose?
no, I woke up in this thing.
Oh, well, show us the back.
Hang on. All right. Show you the back,
dude.
So
yeah. So those are for sale on my site, idcrisisdesign.com. And if I've got your size, I'll send it to you. If I don't, I'll make it, and then I'll send it to you. Anyways, I was going through the first page, which was drawn by hand, and then I spruced it up in Photoshop. In fact, I wonder if I tried pulling these up in Acrobat, but I think my settings were weird and it was taking forever to load. StreamYard takes a lot out of your computer, and then he jumps down, knocks out the light, jumps down. This guy is really a victim of his own laziness. I mean, you can see him there messing around on his phone. So his attention,
be a lesson.
His attention is elsewhere. Yeah, let it be a lesson, assholes. Pay attention to your freaking job.
And
then you see, we're gonna hear your voice. We're not gonna see any pretty faces or anything for a little bit. I want to solo lay out this. Gets into the in my notes, it's just called a pedo lair. So this is where some heinous things are happening to children, and he's going in there looking for his daughter. So, and there's in subtle ways I was trying to make this character I don't want to say not average, but relatable in a way where this bad guy here is clearly taller than the hero, and I wanted it to be that way on purpose, where even to be super heroic, I just want him to be determined, I want him to be smart, I want him to be daring, but I don't want him to be unwise. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Well, I would, because whatever.
Have you seen Jack Reacher?
Yeah.
The movies?
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise is a tiny.
Yeah, that's not the way the character was. I mean, the character was written like the Amazon show. Yeah. I didn't think they were bad movies, but if you read the books, you're like, come on.
No, but as far as the choreography goes.
Yeah. The choreography.
That one street fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the Pittsburgh locations, that was fun. The cars were nice, and that's something that's actually going to come into play here in the later pages. I have to leave at least by 1 or 1:30, so I only have an hour to get through this. And the reason I'm doing this now is because they put us back on 12s, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get a chance to do anything. I've got paint projects in the other room. I've got other, people that are asking me to do those things. But until we can get our shit together over it, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it. It's work. So anyways, yeah. So anyways, what happens here is, we're guiding Mikey, and color is probably going to have to come into play here, because I don't think it's easy to see. I don't think it's easy to see the hook around his nuts and his throat, because that's basically how he's leading him along.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much color you want to throw in there, or how much darker you want to go back in and Yeah, there you can. There's enough. There's a lot of shadow in the bottom left.
Here you don't see it, but I think through the panels, you're going to get the idea that that's what's going on.
Yeah. Is that inside cut? Is that sharp? Is that a sharpened blade on the inside turn there?
Possibly.
You might want to have a little bit of blood, but the shadows are going to probably
might do that.
To illustrate that.
I might. I don't know. If I might just leave it up to.
But you might want to put some more shadows in there, like just to improve the contrast, like you did on that other panel where he's walking away, like to the right. Yeah, see that one? He's got a lot of shadows. You can kind of see.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe even,
You mean
I don't
just
know.
put some dark in there?
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
if even
trying to. I mean, everything here is going to get tweaked out. I'm at some point I'm going to feel like, I have to. This has to be done. This page has to be done. I have to move on to the next page, make it as good as possible. But I mean, even the Mona Lisa isn't perfect. If somebody had to finally say it's not. Even Leonardo. I haven't had my mushroom coffee today. Leonardo da Vinci, I believe, said that artwork is never finished; it's only abandoned.
I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's going up the way, and he's what's going on with this helmet is it is special. Okay, this is the Iron Man portion of the character. There is somebody else speaking with him who can see what's going on. He has a microchip type character helping him out. He actually has a team of people that we are going to be meeting later.
Yeah.
Those characters will trickle in, but then the concept that they're a team will all happen by the time well, I don't want to tell you the end. So
the lower right, the lower right panel. Why is there a hook on his arm?
You mean wrapped up?
Yeah.
Because he wrapped it up.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to show like everything. Okay, as he's running down this,
Well, okay, but the logistics of wrapping
as he's running down the
unwrapping and rewrapping and unwrapping and rewrapping, and shouldn't there be like some sort of a thing where he could, like a magnet where he can just
like web shooters?
No, not that. I'm just saying, like, if he wants to put it on his arm and get it out of the way, it probably would be better to have just some magnets wrapped up in there, some neodymium magnets. I'm just saying, like that picture there makes me think, okay, is that another weapon or is that the weapon that he just had? Because if it is, he had to wrap it up. But in order to wrap it up, he has to unwrap what he already has.
I'm hoping that at some point that the people reading the comic book will understand that there's a passage of time that happens between one panel and the next. Yeah. Some stuff has to be
instructions for people.
Some stuff is going to have to be.
Treat everybody like an idiot.
What did I do?
I said my supervisor told me when I'm writing instructions for assembly instructions for like displays and stuff.
Yeah.
To make sure that you are explaining everything because he goes, pretend you're talking to idiots.
Yeah.
Not to disparage the audience or anything, but like if you want to appeal to a wider market.
It'll happen, but I can't do that right now. This is I'm trying to do action, and there's going to be a point where, because right now we're just seeing this is the this is the Rock'em Sock'em beginning to the thing. If I started telling this story where the story begins, it would be boring. So I have to. I'm kind of doing a Tarantino thing where I'm taking you from the middle and putting it in the front because this is where the action is. Okay. So anyways, what he's doing here is he's hitting the main breaker, and this is one of my favorite pages because it's all like, it's like this is where I'm going to do all the crazy Dutch angles and stuff like that, and I don't think that I'm going to be adding any dialogue at all because I think this is good enough myself. If you can't tell what's happening here, and maybe some more contrast on this or whatever, but if you can't tell what's happening here, then just put the book down. Now, in between panels 4 or between the second and the last panel, I'll probably have some flesh chopping sound effects that kind of go between like right under the hook there, and then you'll know, okay, he just got fished through the Achilles tendon and is basically it. You're done. He's done. And now he can go back up stairs and start looking for his daughter. And that's what happens here.
Yeah. Does
And
he know
only
that
he
kids are there?
does he know what?
Does he know that there are kids there in those rooms particular?
He
In
knows,
particular?
yeah, he knows there are kids here. He doesn't know if one of them is his daughter. Now, and this is an unconventional. This is a I was trying to find an editor slash, I don't want to say creative partner, but somebody to bounce ideas off of, and if they think certain things work and don't work, and I rearranged some panels here. I was talking with a dude, Cider, and he was like, well, he's probably gonna have to take that helmet off because that getup, you just got blood all over yourself, and then you're gonna like kick a door down and see some kids there, and they're not gonna want to talk, but there's certain things I'm doing with the word balloons and the text and things like that, so that I'm hoping is convincing enough that I can get away with this concept. That, yeah, I mean, what I mean? Like, he's got those pleading hands up, like, I'm here to save you. Don't, you want to see your mom, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then talking about the other girl on the bed is not doing so well. I'm trying to make these victims as pathetic as possible.
Mhm.
You'll see down here, this kid can't even walk. And that these are real sick puppies, and not even everybody is there. The reason why he can't, that his daughter isn't here, is because the other people that were in here, torturing and filming these kids, they left, and they left with Melody, his daughter. So
have you seen Barbarian?
Yeah, I have. It was odd.
I
In
kind of
fact,
liked
I'm
it.
not even sure. Well,
I mean, the Barbarian wasn't the creature.
no. What I was curious about was, you could telegraph everything that was going to happen, because you're like, all right, well, especially the guy in the junkyard. He's like, I've been here for 10 years and it's never ever whatever, and of course she shows up.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't.
It was good.
I saw when I saw Pennywise.
Same guy.
Yeah, right. When I saw him, I'm like, okay, he's going to be a problem, and then he turns out to not be a total victim, and he doesn't even make it through half the movie. I'm like, oh, all right, well, maybe I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's William Skarsgård, I think, or is it Bill or Eric? No, it's not Eric. Eric was Tarzan.
Yeah,
Anyways.
and Vikings, right? So he was a Viking.
Northmen.
Yeah.
Not Viking. Vikings is a show.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways, so back to the and some of these pages are quote inked, and some of them have letters and stuff. I was working on different aspects of the book that I thought was going to be more fun. I got comments. Oh my God, there's 2 people watching. Bill Skarsgård. There it is. Yeah. See, we got.
Okay. Rad Art and Comics, Bill Skarsgård. That's a great waste of time. You could have spent more time telling me how pretty I look.
Nobody can see you.
Typing that. Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, it is my fault. So I'm going to keep doing it.
They know what you look like, I guess.
I'm trying to get through this. I'm trying to get through the intro of this thing. And
okay, I'm just
trying to get as many off ramps under construction as possible.
All right.
So anyway, so we're going from, all right, we're leaving, to walking past where our first victim, and then you can see there's nice cracks in the tile. I haven't inked this up yet, of course. And then we can see our gun in the old waistband, which is pretty bad. You pulled a gun on me, and something bad's going to happen to you. And this is I actually had to redraw this. I didn't like the way it wasn't like I showed it to one of my friends there online, and he was like, not gory enough. I'm like, you know what? I agree.
Yeah, I like the taste buds. I like the texture.
I was trying to do like with the Homer Simpson walleyes there. I was trying to do I remember seeing that effect with in a lot of Burning Rights and stuff.
Mhm.
So we're busting out where we came in, and I'm hoping I've got this working out the right way, because now we're running and we're seeing who he's working with. We've got a guy in a Chevy van, which doubles as like an ambulance, and everybody. And this is the thing about this book that I really want to drive home is the cool thing about the people that he's working with. First of all, you would never be able to get away with doing something like this unless you had a team. And that didn't occur to me until I was doing a parking lot event at a dealership, pinstriping up there, and the one of the events is for a car show, and I saw a lot of different like car clubs up there, and I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Your guy, he can fabricate, he can make things, and even if it's going to be more technical or whatever, he's got his like Microsoft type character or microchip type character. And
like Steel,
so
but like a
if we
better
do
version.
something,
Like Steel, but like a better version, like a more realistic version.
Steel, what do you mean? Oh, you mean like what? You mean that terrible movie with what's his face, the basketball
Shock.
player, Shaq? Yeah, with Shock. Yep, that one.
What's
Sorry,
that?
I hit something on my. Is that too loud?
No, I just didn't know what it was. I thought somebody else.
It's a soundboard thing I hit by mistake.
Oh.
Okay, so the thing here is there's different people and they're in their cars, like your car is in many ways your personality. Your soul is within your body, then you are within your car, and people decorate themselves with tattoos and earrings. They do the same thing. You should see my daughter's car has all kinds of weird flowery stuff on the inside and whatever. The point is that I wanted to be able to express these characters and their past through their vehicles and have it more of a Hot Wheels kind of a cool and not a Voltron kind of a cool. So they don't actually turn into robots or do anything special like that. There's no 007 missiles or shit or whatever. They're just, these are their cars. And to that end, I've been like, I built a 32 lowrider here, put it on that thing. And this is, I'm using it. One of the reasons is because I want to be able to use it as reference. If these things are going to be showing up in, let me see. Yeah. If they're going to be showing up in the book, I need to be able to, turn it and take pictures and use it as reference.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and then there's like this. I couldn't find a decent one. This is just like a snap together thing, but it should be good enough.
Yeah.
So there's the van. So in the different characters are they are expressed through Cars in Perspective is, if you don't have a car, no, your soul is within your body. Okay, let me explain. Your soul is within your body, and it means your car doesn't have a soul if you don't have a car. Any car that doesn't have a driver is without a soul at the moment. It's sort of like
right. So, which means when you're at a car show and you drive your car to the car show, and then you get out of the car, that means your car is having an out of car experience.
It's an astral projection, yeah, kind of thing. When you leave your car is having an out of auto body experience. So there's a 64 lowrider, and that belongs to Trish Perez. She is Shane's helper at Mac Daddy Customs, and and I think this is Darren, our resident. He in real life is an EMT. His parents were hippies and stuff. They used to follow the dead. So, spirited away inside this custom van are going to be medical supplies and drugs and whatever. So he'd basically be your Dr. McCoy.
Side note. Mm-hmm. There is, I got to remember the name of this. It's a medical practice that is slowly becoming more recognized as viable. It is like old country. Elena can tell you a lot about this one. It's basically the same thing as as like the way that we've been like misguided about a lot of different things historically.
Yeah.
The very first part, it's a medical practice, and it has a lot to do with herbs and tinctures and vibrations, and it sounds crunchy granola, but it's what we used to do before pharmacies came along.
Yeah.
And it
Well, I
worked.
mean, I might be asking you to consult on that in the future if it comes up another storyline.
Yeah,
For
well,
now,
whatever you want
because
to have in those drawers. I mean, if you want to give him kind of a backstory, you could. I mean, Elena's working with a guy now that that has, you know, he's I can't he cares for terminal cancer patients and
Mhm.
basically gets them to live years longer than they were supposed to,
Yeah.
and comfortably, like actively, like they're active and they're like living with cancer. They've got cancer, but it's being held at bay.
Yeah,
So
probably
it's a really
because
interesting thing that you brought that up. The first letter is eclectic. Like that's the first. That's
okay.
the E stands for eclectic. Anyway,
No, you can, I mean, send me some information about it. I might be able to use that later, but for now, like if
Yeah.
he's, you know, nobody's going to crunchy granola a cut back together. You know what I
No.
mean? Like they're
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna,
no,
like
not at
nobody's
all. But
gonna
like
go
you
out
might want to
crush up
put
some.
something else. You might want to put something on it to speed up the,
Yeah, no, I
some
get,
zinc
I
oxide.
get that. Some
Yeah,
stitches and some, but
yeah. Do have
like
some leaving.
an immediate painkiller, and of course, this would give the if I thought about like a storyline where Shane has to battle his way back from addiction because he's constantly going out, constantly getting hurt, constantly using painkillers, and then has to get away from that. But that's way in the future. So these guys are basically helping him rescue these kids, and then they're gonna leave and come back in a separate place, and show up at headquarters or whatever. And that's the end of that whole action sequence. It's the first 9 pages.
I'm
And
gonna
then
try.
we get to now we're getting to like sort of like how this all began.
Okay.
So what we're looking at is a a, a private investigator. Yes, Mayans used ants for stitches. Oh yeah. I saw something like this. It was they put the ant's head on the cut so that each mandible is on either side of the opening, and then they pull the head off, and that causes the mandibles to close, and they stay there.
Yeah, that's the same thing as like uh oh god damn it. Sorry.
When you
Shawshank
think of it,
Redemption.
what?
Shawshank Redemption. Like, don't put an ice pick in my head or I'll bite you.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So I don't know if I can, if this is, I mean, we see a broom over here. We've got boxes. Okay. And what's happening is this guy here with the beer mug, he's getting ready to retire and renovate this bar, which he lives above. And the conversation that he's having is with his best friend. He's talking about, I've got all kinds of, if anybody wants to click on that and learn about eclectic medicine.
Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy at the top. No, don't worry about it. Keep going.
Okay, so he's basically talking about that he's been doing investigating, and there's a like really bad guys. Everyone's corrupt. It's all about trafficking kids, and like, I've got evidence, and are you sure you've got it hidden? Blah blah blah. Right. And then he's like, yeah, we're good. And there's just the conversation between the two of them, and then he takes off. Now, can you tell what's going on in the bottom panel here?
It looks like they're being followed at first glance.
Okay. Right. Which car is following which car?
Well, the one furthest away who doesn't want to be seen
All right, good.
is following.
That's exactly, because I want, like, nobody's gonna, and then this is like late at night, of course. And then where do we end up? Well, we end up back at, and this guy's name is detective, private detective Gregory Johns. We end up at his place. and he, getting out of the car. This is gonna come back later, because this might be confusing, but we are actually seeing two figures. One at the top of the stairs getting his attention, and one hiding behind the door doing the dirty work.
Can you go back up? Okay. So he's getting out of the car.
Yeah,
And
gets out of the car. That's clearly
the door.
Yeah.
And behind the door is the dude.
A dude.
Yeah,
this is where the twins part comes in.
Okay, so in the next panel, dude behind the door is at the top of the stairs.
There's two people.
Okay. I'm not seeing. Okay, so the dude with the keys just walked through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Is shutting the door
car
without checking.
I might have to turn around. Well, there's no window there. There's no window on the door. That's
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like Agent Starling, like, check behind the door.
Yeah, doors and corners. He didn't do doors and corners.
Maybe you could. Well, this dude with the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Does he say anything ever?
No.
Okay. Is he ever going to say anything?
Not on this page.
But he does, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know
now
why.
So this dude on the bottom left is pulling a gun out to shoot the guy at the top of the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a way that you could put a whisper bubble next to the big dude in the shadows, just saying doors and corners or something like that, just to kind of give you an idea of like.
No, he'll say something to get his attention. Good evening, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be word balloons and stuff like that. But for right now, I just wanted to know if it's effective. You open the door. I'm going to have to do so. I'll have to do some lines around his head in the third panel so that it spins, kind of like you can see him. What?
Yeah.
One of those. This is why. This is why you do this. Now, this whole page I did on in Procreate.
Oh, I was going to ask you, on some of those other pages, it looks like you're drawing on the page instead of drawing. And hear me out. Like I'm not criticizing your style or anything like that, but when you draw a panel, do you draw on that panel, or do you give yourself a lot of room and then scale it down and plop it in there?
No, I'm drawing on the panel. I'm drawing on the monitor.
Okay. But right. But I mean, you could like clear out the whole monitor, draw something on the entire monitor, and then shrink it down and stick it in there.
Yeah. I mean, I could, if I wanted to scan it in, but I can, the program lets you
zoom in.
Yeah. There's the pencils.
Yeah.
Well, there's the pencils. There's there's ink. There's some gray. And then I can lose the pencils, that blue here.
That's cool.
So that's kind of sort of what it should look like, finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why Clip Studio Paint is this right here. Jimmy Ray is his pro pages that you use in here. That's just a layer. That's a layer 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that works. I have some physical pages I want to do because I know that I want to experience every aspect of this. But anyways, this is some of the dialogue where you get to know the person that they just bagged and tagged. Wakey, wakey, Mr. Johns. I hope you're comfortable. Gregory Johns, 6 years with San Lucia PD Internal Affairs Unit before you were drummed out. Before that, detective with a rather high clearance rate. You came up through the ranks with nary a blemish on your record. It shows no bribes, beatings, or insubordination. Assuming my research is correct, it begs the question, what happened? Yeah. Yeah. If you've ever seen Midnight Run, Robert De Niro's character was a Chicago police that wouldn't take any cream from the crime boss. He was
He's a
uncorruptible.
good cop.
Yeah, he was uncorruptible. So they drummed him out. He ended up being he's a bounty hunter. But you learn that over time. This is a data dump for this one character.
Yeah, it's exposition.
So he gets the elbow to the chin.
Yeah.
And,
did you ever see One Good Cop with Michael Keaton?
Not yet.
Andy Garcia? I think Andy Garcia.
No, he was in Internal Affairs, Andy Garcia.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah. So anyways, and this is where it's supposed to, supposed to leave it, where and one of the things that was kind of tough about this is understanding how the timeline works, because stuff moves along pretty quick. This is basically the next day, and I had to give I haven't inked this in yet, but because this wasn't always the first panel, I needed a place besides the shop to, like, there's the shop, you can see the house, the tree, the yard, but then behind it is where all the junk cars and stuff are. Because if you're working on putting, hot rods and stuff like that together, you're going to be buying some basket cases and leaving them around because, I need a alternator not alternator, but like, body panels and things like that, a Rex to riches kind of a thing.
Yeah. And getting the entire car would take, obviously
Right.
He's got a tow truck somewhere, right?
Right. So on this billboard here, I don't know if you can see that right here.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be an advertisement for Homewood Estates, which is the commercial that you see comes up right here in that second panel. So that's kind of like the transition, the ads or something. Now that may change.
Oh, right.
That may change because the app, that part of her dialogue is the app that she's using was created by the guy who owns the car he's working on. You can see the 32. And they're doing basically a drum to disc brake conversion or whatever, and so that we get an idea of who, like where we are, what they do, and that this car belongs to one Ted Esselgroth. You may remember where that name comes from.
What? Who?
He's a computer genius.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, brake fluid, yeah, you can see where I used the model of the car and took a picture of it so that I could get the right perspective. I don't always do this. Sometimes I just have to, sometimes I draw the car outright, but here, and then I moved it around. So I got to add some extra lines up there.
Yeah.
He goes into the storage room, and this is a vital thing up here at the top. If you can tell by the similarities in the first and the second panel, if you can tell what's happening.
There is a woman leaving, and there is a person.
Well,
I had to see it.
She was told to go get brake fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he walks in.
From where?
The other door.
Okay, good. See,
because there's a calendar there. It took a minute. It might be something as simple as
an air hose, and it'll say office, and when the page is finished, there'll be like other indications. In fact, I may be
okay, so that's inside the office.
No, that's inside the shop.
Okay, so who runs the place?
Shane does. That's
okay,
his shop.
Then why is the guy walking out from inside the office into the shop if he doesn't own the place?
Because they're family.
But how did he get there?
Well, people walk into places all the time. I mean, it's like,
I realize that.
How did you get to the convenience store?
That's not what I'm saying. The word office is on the outside of the door.
Yeah, because you're going from the shop. Because you're going from the shop into the office. It would be like labeling a door men's room, so that you don't go into the woman's room.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the dude and the girl aren't running the place, then what are they doing inside the office? If it's not their place,
they're coming through. Okay. When you walk into a body shop or any establishment where there's work being done in the back,
Yeah.
do you walk into the shop where only employees are allowed?
No, you walk into
You
the front
walk
where
into
the
the office.
front desk.
Yeah,
Oh,
the front desk.
all right.
And that's the door to there, to the front desk. They're in the shop. You can see there's no air hoses in an office.
I realize that, but I'm saying that because the door is labeled office, it would make you think that this is the office in the back of the shop where the shit gets done. Because like the spray booth, I'm not saying you got to change everything. All I'm saying is like maybe if you wanted to help the transition between her and him, you might want to take the right and the left lines of the left and right panels respectively and just tilt them to the right, so it's more like these are the same things happening at the same time. It's like parallel editing.
I guess what you're talking about is just draw the entire two doors and the calendar across the two panels and then just split them.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, well that might be something. I might want to try doing that.
Take
In fact,
notes.
I'll ask other people that question to see if
To see if they give it. Yeah.
yeah, and no, not that, but
I'm
like,
not running for president or nothing.
something to think about. I mean, I can probably just resize one and match it up, but the thing is, and yeah, maybe like a different camera angle. I'm not a huge fan of drawing stuff over again, but if it's going to help the book that much, then yeah, sure. So anyway, she comes in talking about her day, blah, blah, blah. We were at the zoo and all kinds of fun stuff. And there's like a little bit of banter there so that now we understand who everybody is.
Right.
One person is his daughter and the other person is her grandfather. And we find out later that's actually his father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get back down here. Okay, so they're going to leave again. He's waiting for his friend to show up. He's waiting for they had agreed that they were going to meet P.I. Johns and Pap, which is the guy he was talking to who owns this Yanko Deuce Nova. That they were going to show up at the shop the next day. So and talk about, everything that, kind of continue the conversation. He doesn't show up right away. He's like, well, let's go get some ice cream. And then we'll come back later. You guys can, I don't want to interrupt your work, blah, blah, blah. You go do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a crash. Here's a crash coming from the back office because, Trish is trying to pull down a box of brake fluid, which she happens to be a little too short for because she's just a little thing. And pulls down a box full of this other stuff. Now, I don't know if I'm going to go with what is this, like this chain with the hooks is a Manriki, but she's basically pulling out a box of like wrestling and martial arts trophies, and they're all first place. And this is just something that she does not know about him because he just doesn't do it anymore. It used to where he had actually inadvertently hurt some people and just decided that he should probably not be doing this. Like it's one of those things where he was so good at it, he got bored.
Right.
I need to work in, and this is going to be something that happens across that 2-page painful memory exposition dump where we learn as much as we can about his past, what makes him who he is. But that he's had trouble with the law and has had one of those, those life-saving moments where instead of him going to jail, he's given the offer to work in the motor pool. And you know what I mean? And then that's where Pap becomes sort of a father figure and sort of sets him straight.
Kind of like a work release.
Kind of, this is a waste of talent. I know he's a rough kid and stuff like that. But if you let me have him, we can probably turn him around and we can make him an asset. And besides, I could use the help. The inadvertent thing is that his daughter and Shane had gone to school together, and they end up falling in love. So he's like, well, that's not the box. I'm sorry. That's my fault. These boxes look, let me get rid of this blue. These boxes all look the same, whatever. And he doesn't want to talk about it because it brings up bad memories.
Mhm.
And I need to finish this panel here. He's like, let's just get the damn thing done and get it out of here and whatever.
If she
So
looks like sad, is he yelling at her just for finding stuff on accident? Because I would only
no,
get
he's not. It's kind of an aggravation. He'd be more, he's more upset with himself, but now the mood has changed.
Mhm.
You know, it was, hey, this is really good work, to can we just get it done and out of here? In other words, I would really like to forget about this again, you know?
Mhm.
And then we've got Pap and Melody in the car,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're,
Do we
and
ever
then,
find out why they were targeted?
yeah. What,
Good.
who are targeted? Pap is being targeted. Melody's not being targeted. She just
Oh,
happens to be in the car.
okay.
Yeah. And then and this is where I was asking Mike Barron on X how long, if he thought that 2.5 pages of car chase was too much, and
Mhm.
kind of like went back and forth. And like, well, can I show you these pages and then you tell me what you think afterwards?
Mhm.
But that's, so there's going to be a crash, that basically a bump that
Yeah.
sends that sends the Nova into and what we find out later is that Pap actually taught defensive driving for the police.
I got a question.
Yeah.
First of all, that panel that has him gripping the steering wheel, I really
Yeah.
like. It's clean.
I like
Um,
it too.
the so is Trish Latina at all?
Yeah.
Latin? Okay. Are you gonna have her make a joke about the Nova?
Why?
Because
What would the joke be? They're
they
looking at a
sold
30, huh?
they sold terribly in Mexico because Nova means no go.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
didn't know that, but it's possible. But this is, that if it was a regular Nova, I get it.
No, but it could just be one of those things that she
Yeah,
snickers and he goes,
it's
"What's up?"
nice
and she goes,
car.
"Never mind."
Yeah, nice car, terrible name. I don't know that it would fit here though, because the reason why this panel here, where is it? The reason why these panels at the top have to happen this way
Mhm.
is because she doesn't know that they're there. She doesn't see them. So she doesn't actually get her eyes on the car. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So if the joke was told, it would have been told a long time ago before it ever got restored. Yanko is the way these things worked, like a Shelby or a Salon or like a Yanko.
Mhm.
A Yanko Deuce or a Yanko Chevy, anything is very specific to Cannonsburg.
Okay.
Because what would happen is there would be, a car that gets released, like a Nova, okay, and then or like any regular, car, like a Le Mans or an Impala, and then these places would, be a place that you went to turn it into something else. They would, super tune the engine and put a different this on it and a different that. And by the time it was done, you had a drag car, basically a pro street drag car type thing. You know what I mean? You had a muscle
Mhm.
car. It
Yeah.
would turn a regular Nova into a muscle car, but then they would put their own graphics on it and stuff like that. So like if you were to Wikipedia Yanko Deuce, they would tell you all about, what that is. But the Yanko shop itself, was a famous shop, is, I passed by it on the way to work. Now it's not there anymore. This is something that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, look at the freaking cars we got. But I'm trying to put some, history and extra love into these things, the way that you would really love your favorite Hot Wheel. So
Yeah.
that's one of the attitudes I'm trying to get across, is everything that was cool about the 70s. your Evil Knievel cycle, your Hot Wheels, your slot racers, and your stuff like that. And I'm trying to get some of that attitude, and hopefully it works. Okay, so and this is where I'm like, I really want to finish this this page, because it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain the car chase. We've got the Nova gets tapped in the rear end, and now the chase is on. These guys, we've seen them before, the twins. That's Alex and Adrian. Specifically, Alex and Adrian named specifically and as androgynous as possible.
Okay, so are they like those old dudes that like both of them were rich and one of them they both got plastic surgery? I think there's only one left. They're like rich twins or something.
No, they're both dead, and yes, that's exactly who I modeled them after. In fact, that was I was trying to figure out how I should portray these not quite, the way that a super serious female bodybuilder looks more like a man than a woman.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean, like that. But then to tip it in the net,
steroids.
What?
Because they're on steroids.
Okay, but even more than that, to tip it in the net to do the plastic surgery thing, and that's actually going to come into play later. I have a perfect line for when they start fighting. But the thing is we know there's two of them, and through the entire book, we know there's two of them. But by the time as the further along we go, the we're going to realize that only we know that there's two of them. So the car takes off to the side, and then we do that typical shift, clutch off, gas, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And then because Pap did. He downshifts so that the car passes, and then he shifts again and hits the gas and starts to do a pit maneuver, which is really bad because this is a really nice car. And I hate when people do that in movies. They get the most cherry black Barracuda in Phantasm 2, and then they blow it up. Like, don't do that. And now I'm like finding myself like, well, I'm going to do that. If this is all I was doing with my life, at all, and I could afford to just do this, I know, like, in my head, that Nova is going to come back to Shane's shop and it's going to get restored. So I'm not worried about ruining it.
Yeah, I would love to be on the effects crew for Dukes of Hazzard if I could go back in time and be born earlier.
So
they used a lot of miniatures.
This is the last page that I've got even sketched up at all. So you can see down the side, this first panel, I'm trying to do like a sequential. This is the pit maneuver. He gets spun around and he goes to, and up here he goes to take off. And then the one of the twins hits the nitrous oxide switch. They hit him really hard in the back as he's speeding towards an exit. He's speeding towards an exit that's like 15 miles per hour, and then finds out that he has no brakes. Oh. And so on the next page across the top, that top skinny panel, I want to have like a silhouette of that car just like in midair.
Yeah.
This is as far as I've gotten so far. It's all from here all the way to we got the whole action sequence. We got
you can see the progress. It's like the further you get to the end, the less detail there is, because you're still working on it.
Yeah. And I want to do some more pages and like traditionally and scan them in and do some other pages on Procreate, because it feels really good to draw on that. But this is the most convenient because I can turn the light on, and like what I ought to be doing is streaming while I'm drawing, and I'd be able to like answer questions, and people would like, well, I don't understand why this is happening, and talk me into doing panels over again, like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah, like this one. I might. Where is it? I might recompose this one here, like you were saying.
no. Well,
Split
don't
it
do it.
down the middle so that. But in order for that to happen, the perspective is going to have to be way less drastic, and that's one of the reasons why I have it like this, is because she's one height going through the door, and then the door is, like, I'm trying to feature her going in and her going into the storeroom, them coming back out, and or coming back into the shop.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Well,
because in this,
if you don't, if you don't do it, I won't love you anymore.
well, cool. Then I know exactly what I need to do. But I mean, you can see it here. Look at these two doors. There's the storeroom right next to right in front of her where she's supposed to go, and then there's the office door.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like there aren't clues from one page to the next. And he's gonna say that once you run into the storeroom and just go in the back and get some fluid so we can finish this up. So she does, and then they come in, the next door. So I'm hoping that's enough. But this here is where she goes, I don't understand, what is this, a chain with hooks? And she goes, and what is this, a straight jacket? Like, why would he have that? Like in a vintage like an old welding helmet. Okay, whatever. But why are those things all in there together? He's not trying to, like, he isn't even meat hook yet.
Right.
He's just like, there's gonna like that double page spread's gonna be so important, because he's going to be remembering while he's doing violence to cars in the junkyard. Remember, you've seen Soldier? Kurt Russell.
Universal
Kurt Russell, Soldier.
Yeah.
Gary Busey. You've seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember the scene where he's just like kind of like hitting he's just trying to deal with shit, and he's hitting like an old metal, like a giant muffler or something like that, putting dents in it?
Yeah.
Okay, it would be like that, but side view mirrors, tires, he's basically in there trying to figure out what to do next. And while he's doing that, he's remembering, there'll be a frame about getting in trouble in school or being really good at wrestling, and then other, like, hurting somebody, inadvertently hurting somebody at a taekwondo match or something like that, and then deciding that engines are easier to work with than people, and moving in that direction, and all that stuff. It's going to be one panel is a punch or a kick, the next panel is a memory, the next panel is a punch or a kick, the next one is a memory. So every other panel is going to be a fist or a foot taking something out.
Yeah.
And as that happens, and I wanted to do that. And I wanted to somehow like measure time by, putting a bottle of whiskey somewhere in the panel so that you could see it getting lower and lower and lower. He's after he realizes because this is like having his daughter kidnapped is not the last thing that happens. Like one of the things that never sold me about Batman, and I'm sure you can attest to this. Okay. He sees his parents die in the alleyway, and that just screws him up for life.
Yeah.
Okay. And you and I have a similar, right?
Yeah.
And that did not turn me into Batman.
Well, nobody did that.
Okay. Right. Exactly. But what I'm saying is your day has to go way further south than I lost my parents, but I still have billions of dollars. And his day is going to go super, super, like super south, where all of a sudden he's alone and doesn't know what to do, or he is alone.
That's like the week I've had.
Well, have you been alone the whole week?
practically. I mean, Elena's at work, Lydia's at school.
That's
Everyone's
great,
at
man.
school.
That's
And
awesome. Did you get a lot done?
Yeah, I'm getting some stuff done. I mean, but I'm also swimming around inside of my own head. That's not fun.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things I can't stand. Anyway, let me tie this up here. That's the last page. And I really, all I wanted to do with this stream was explain, well, for one thing, yeah, like I know which pages to work on next. I'm going to be out of order. It's going to be this page and the page before it, so that if I get those finished up, I can, or at least to a point where they sort of make sense, post them on X, see what Mike Barron has to say. And but this first panel is going to be weird because it's going to be like it'll be like this one. Where is it? It'll be like this sequential type thing.
Yeah.
But going down the left side and coming at you. So it looks like it's the same road, and one car is making the other car skid out of, and spin out, and then take off. So, this is all super, super new. I've never done anything like it before.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I do. I mean, you're treading a new path. You got to stamp that grass down.
And it's taken forever. I mean, I've been working on this thing for like over 2 years, and I'm like,
I know,
it's
and
as far as I've gotten.
The superpower that you have to keep that from bugging the crap out of you is something I wish I had, because while I'm sitting here doing this, and I'm doing plasticity tutorials and Blender tutorials, and I'm still left with, well, I'm just making what somebody else made. How come I'm not? I seem to lack the capacity to do something original. Now, I can, do my models over here, but if I'm going to like draw something, it's like, well, first I have to start drawing it. And while I'm drawing the thing that I want to create, then I start to criticize my own ability to draw. And then I'm like, all right, fuck this, put the book down. Cause it just crumbles from there. Yeah. I can draw, but I don't like how I'm drawing, so I stop. And I'm like, all right, and time to do something else. It's a real it's very defeatist, and it's one of those things. It's like one of those things where when you've got a week off and nothing to do, and you're kind of broke, so you can't really improve on anything that's around you.
Well, yeah,
hey,
that's the thing.
This is about the comic book. This isn't about my existential crisis.
Well, no, it's how else are you supposed to get to it? I mean, So there's the comic book. I've got one design client that I am consistently doing stuff for. That has to get done. There's a fender in there that got dropped off 2 days ago that I said would be done in a week. There's the back end of a bagger conversion that I have to fix, the one with all the clowns and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, he crunched it against the back of his. So like the further along it goes, it's not just the 12-hour days that start next week again. We were on 12 hours for like the last 4 or 5 months.
12-hour shifts, or that's when you start?
12-hour shifts. And then
how much of that is time and a half when you're done? I mean, you get time and a half after 40, don't you?
It's not worth it. It adds up to like maybe an extra $700 every paycheck. Okay, I can make that in a day, pinstriping and labeling a semi truck, one semi truck.
Well, we need to stop talking. I mean, I'm salary, so I get what I get, and that's all. I don't, if there was overtime, or if I did have a side gig that was actually making me, like, I could make a side gig if I could figure out how to get past the part where I can't. If I could stop convincing myself that I don't know what I'm doing, then I could probably have a side gig.
Oh yeah. You should stop doing that, because that would be untrue.
Okay.
I think you're amazing and a very talented person.
Well, I don't have anything. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I appreciate that. I'll try to remember that. But the part where, but you don't know what I know about me. That's the part that keeps me from believing what anybody else has to say. Well, anybody that tells you that you're good at something doesn't know what they're talking about.
How
they
come?
Can't. Well,
Well,
because
none of my customers know what they're talking about. They just know that I just want to. Do you like it in the end? Yeah, enough to pay me what I'm worth. Yeah, good. That's fine. That's all I need to know. I don't
maybe you should
care if
just
they
start with
think
every
I'm.
compliment should be responded to by, well, then pay me. You're so talented, pay me,
Well,
instead
yeah,
of a
I
thank
don't.
you.
You still haven't sent me an invoice for that thing you did.
Yeah.
See? Okay. Well,
No, no,
this
no. I don't want to. I don't want money for something that might not work.
doesn't matter. It's not your problem if it works or not. I don't even know if the guy's ever going to get it modeled. I asked you to do something. You did it. I said, charge me.
I don't know how much to
Fucking
charge
charge
you.
me. Find out. I have to, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't grow up around motorcycles. One of the things that one of the biggest, hardest slugs about doing custom paint work on motorcycles, and by the way, I think one of the bigger reasons why I didn't move towards comic books and moved into something like airbrushing and custom paint is because, like, when you're doing t-shirts, it's quick, it's a novelty thing. They usually just go into somebody's dryer eventually and they fade out and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, not the same thing, but when you're doing like custom paint work and pinstriping and things like that, the people who actually know about whether you're good or not are your peers. Your customer base doesn't necessarily know, because I've seen some real crap out there. And and some of my earlier stuff would be like absolute, junk. But my customer base, they know about their motorcycles. Some of them might know what a good finish is, whatever. What they don't do is scratch their chin, wonder what it all means, and tell me about composition and color and things like that. They don't know about that stuff. When you get into comic books, all of your peers, and now all of my peers that are like doing pinstriping and sign painting and stuff like that, they can steer me in the right direction. They can critique my work, but the customer base isn't going to, because they aren't that. Okay. When you get into comic books, the fan base
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit more like that.
Yeah, critical.
Okay. Yeah. And the and especially the artists and the writers and stuff like that, they're they're kind of harsh, and to the point where it might even be intimidating. And I think that might be one of the reasons why I never went in that direction. All of this stuff that we weren't allowed to bring into the house, notwithstanding, you know what I mean? All the lack of exposure, like we didn't live in a comic book store, even though I might have wanted to,
Yeah.
I loved going to Queen City Comics, and it was that guy when I was kind of like bitching. I'm like, you don't understand, this house I live in, we're not allowed to bring this stuff into the house. I got to sneak it in like the French underground. He goes, well, how old are you? I go, 16. He goes, well, in 2 years you can move out.
Yeah.
I remembered him saying that. Or Emil, in Queen City
What's his
Comics.
name?
He's Emil.
Email. Yeah.
Emil. I think he pronounced it Emil.
Okay.
But yeah, the guy that owned Queen City Comics. And I was like, yeah, okay. That's exactly what I'm going to do. But then, what happens when you move out? You got all your other concerns. Now you got to find a job, bills to pay, stuff like that. And I'm not using it as an excuse. I mean, I've got a pretty decent studio, surrounding me. And in some ways, I wonder why it is I haven't self-destructed yet and just, started. Like I'm good at I'm good at my job. I want to do well. I want the people around me to do well. I want my department to do well. I want the company to do well, because that's how we all make money.
Yeah.
But it's not rewarding, like
Nope.
working on a comic book, or finishing a decent paint job, or even selling, or whatever it is that you're into. It doesn't
Yeah.
have any, it's not as spiritually rewarding. In fact, I'm looking right now at an email that I haven't completed some training course about not killing yourself when you're at work. I mean, accidentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like this, and there's the thing, like, it's almost 1:00 and I'm going to have to go, but I'm looking at this thing. And I'm like, oh, you mean that thing that you changed how I'm supposed to go to this website, and I'm not going to do it when I'm not at work because I'm not being paid to, but I can't do it when I am at work because we're so freaking busy. Which one do you want? You know what I mean? And stop making it so hard. I can't get into this website because everything changed. You know,
Right.
so now I gotta call somebody in IT to get that fixed. You know, like how many balls do you want me to put in the air? And that's just this thing. Never mind my own life.
Yeah, they had that whole how not to be the how to report when people are, you know,
It's
when they're becoming dangerous at work. And I'm like, how about this? Is there training for the sales force where they don't go, hey, hot rush, this account is worth X million, like not my problem, not my paycheck. Shut the fuck up. Tell me what the fuck you want and leave me alone. It's, you know, that's why we have these design requests. You're not special. Fill one out. But then there's the whole DEI thing. That was last year. My actually doesn't even say that I took it, and I was the most vocal. I'm like, this is wrong. You're not supposed to be able to compel my perspective. You can't compel me to change my perspective on the reality that I grew up knowing. So anyway, new management.
Yeah, it's
DEI has a B on it now.
Let's not even get into that. We'll never we'll never get off of here, and eventually I
need to get out.
I have to.
Okay.
But in fact, I'm probably gonna do that now. So let me see if I can work this stream the right way. It's the last thing I wanted to do was like complain about my job or whatever. But you know,
hey man,
what is it? Ray Liotta says to shit. I hate, you know, in every other instance I can think of exactly who I'm trying to say. Who's the dude from Lost Boys? Is it Patrick something? What is it?
Patrick David?
No.
It's
see, it's happening to you.
I was going with Kiefer Sutherland, but
no, the other guy, Michael. His name is Patrick something, whatever. But no, in Narc, it's a great movie. I love it to death. And he goes, yeah, no, you know, he goes, oh, I didn't mean to get into whatever. He goes, we're talking wives. We're talking wives. So that's what we're talking about. Not your fault. Anyways, I'm going to hit this outro thing here.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, share the video with your friends, and don't forget to visit my website, idcrisisdesign.com. You can see a lot of great artwork and my products for sale. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
So do I, a little bit.
I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
I loved it. It was much better than Cat. I'm going to see it again and again. I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Listen. I loved it. It was much better than Cat. I'm going to see it again and again.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, when SNL was funny.
Yeah, back then.
All right. Let me take care of this, and I'll peace, love, and peace,
prosperity.
Peace, love, and 6 feet of rope.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. See ya.
See ya.